I needed that.
Sometimes in the meeting, maintenance is bringing up an extension cord. I need to plug in my camera because my battery is gas now. I need to plug in probably.
Hey, do you want to put the plug in now? Just have it city mounted?
Well, I can't. It won't reach for my camera. It's only this big right now. So we're waiting for an extension. So I'll plug it in here. It'll just be for today. We're going to get a higher capacity battery.
We will try.
Yeah, I don't see
Cord.
Huh?
Here's your cord.
Yep.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the County Council regular meeting of February 21st, 2018. This morning we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Alexis Small of Upper Darby High School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We ask you to please remain standing for the invocation by Maureen Dillon of our Office of Information Technology.
Dear God, in your wisdom, guide the members of this council. Bless them as they continue to work together for the good of our county. We pray for your presence in our schools. May joy reign in the hallways, the classrooms, and the playgrounds, giving all children and school staff a safe and healthy environment to learn and grow in peace. With your mercy, protect our troops that are serving overseas, and bless those that protect and serve us here at home. Amen.
Amen. I'll recognize Ms. Marone for item number 4 on our agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Move for the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 14th, 2018.
Second motion.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We do have one item on our, one resolution on our agenda, item number 14, and it's been suggested we have quite a number of people that are here for that resolution here today. So why don't we deviate from the agenda and do agenda item number 14, the resolution declaring February as National Career and Technical Education Month at this time, and we'll recognize Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will try and talk as slow as possible so the students don't have to go back to school so soon. In Delaware County, we are privileged to have excellent technical education programs which train and guide students. Training our students gives them the knowledge and experience they need to obtain and keep quality jobs after they graduate high school. Some of the fields in which they train include carpentry, electrical technology, heating, ventilation and air conditioning, culinary arts, cosmetology, dental technology, automotive technology, health occupations, and commercial arts. Guided by industry professionals, Delaware County Technical Schools and the Delaware County Intermediate Unit provide a quality education and prepare students by providing innovative, meaningful technical training, a foundation for lifelong learning, and marketable credentials for high-wage, high-demand careers. This training benefits students as well as the county's entire workforce and economy. Each February, Council recognizes Career and Technical Education Month to shine a spotlight on our technical education schools, teachers, and students. Delaware County Technical High School have two main locations in Aston and Fallcroft, and they hold programs at the Delaware County Emergency Training Center, Marple Education Center, and 4 partnering hospitals. Today, we are joined by administrators from the Intermediate Unit, as well as technical school instructors and outstanding students who were selected for excelling in their respective industry fields. We would now like to invite Karen Flew, Administrative Director of the Intermediate Unit, to come forward and tell us more about the technical education programs in the county and introduce students and teachers who are here with us today. Karen?
Hello. Thank you for asking us to be here today. And I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the Delaware County Technical High Schools and expand a little bit on what you have already expressed. A lot of people are not aware that every year we have a CTE month, or Career Technical Education Month, and the importance of that is to just bring awareness to career technical education and all of the fields and industry that we prepare students for the future workforce. I think a lot of times there's still a perception that students that attend the career tech schools are only going out to work in an entry-level position, and that is no longer the case. Today we prepare students for college careers. We have a clear defined pathway for them to learn and achieve before they graduate. They are often tasked with also not just learning their skill, but their academics is embedded in their skill at the same time, so that we can continue to guide them. We provide a lot of career guidance to continue to guide them on that career pathway to their future career to meet workforce demands. As you all know, there's a tremendous growth, and we are continuing to work as hard as we can to prepare students with that, so that if they choose to go right out to work or into the military or to a post-secondary education, earn an industry credential, we provide a whole host of things. But basically, you could say we're with you on the high skill, high demand, high wage, preparing students for the future workforce, and we will continue to do so. At this time, I'd like to introduce Principal Contratti. He's going to introduce the students that are here representing Aston and Marple campuses, and Principal Coughlin is here from Fallcroft. He's going to introduce the students from the Fallcroft campus. Thank you for having us today.
If the students would please rise when your name is called and stay standing until both Mr. Coughlin and I announce everybody, then we'll give everybody a round of applause at the end. And I'm going to save a couple names for the bottom just in case they got here last minute. But from the Aston campus in advertising design and commercial art, John Fritz. From Apple Systems and Design, Justin Cook. Building Trades and Construction Program, Hunter Fanjoy. Carpentry Program, Christopher Robinson. Computer Networking and Digital Forensics, Simon Sansini. Cosmetology Program, Dominique Liauston. Culinary Arts and Hospitality at the Aston campus, Layla Allen. Culinary Arts and Food Service Management at the Marple campus, Sarah Allen. Our Dental Technology Program, Anthony Largo. The Electrical Construction Technology Program, Devin Davis.
heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and plumbing, Demetrius Starling. From our medical careers program at Langton Hall Hospital, Tara McGinn. From our medical careers program at Crozier Hospital, Tyra Wilson. From our medical careers program at Taylor Hospital, Taylor Johnson. And then these are the 4 students that I did not see, and I apologize. From engineering technology program, Joe Schweikowski. From our exercise therapy and sports science program, Larry Coaxum. And from our medical careers program at Delaware County Memorial Hospital, Madison Oxenberg. And the last one, medical careers program at Mercy Fitzgerald Hospital, Raina DiCamillo. Sure. State your name.
Now I'd like to introduce the students from our Fulcroft campus. From our automotive technology program, we have Joseph Campanegro. From our building trades program, Christopher Rhodes. From our collision repair technology program, Richard Pedlikowski. From our cosmetology program, Alexis Smalls. From our culinary arts program, Zachary Mufti. From our early childhood education program, Olivia DeAngelis. From our emergency protective services program, Jerome Fletcher. From our health sciences program, Winona Campo. And last, from our logistics and inventory management program, Leah Ballino.
Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to ask Alexis and Dominique from the cosmetology, can you do anything with this or no? It's a lost cause, I'm just kidding. If we could have everyone come up and receive your, the resolutions, and we have some for the students, and take a picture, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Students from Fulcroft.
Good, I think we're good. One more. The other king? The ASTA campus like to come up? Suggestion? Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
These two polls. So you're getting waiting.
All right, we ready? Okay, right here.
Daily Times?
What was that?
This all is in the Daily Times?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
In a few years. You wanted to see it, didn't you? Yeah, is that everybody? Yeah. She wanted to be up there.
She's still got it.
Why it sounds like a lot of
Returning to, I'm sorry.
Yes, Senator.
Oh, sure, yeah. Certainly, if anybody, contrary to what Mr. Culp said, we need to go back to school, welcome to do that now.
And sorry, Stephanie, again, the culinary students made some treats in the back of the room for everybody.
She just went out there.
All right, returning to our agenda, there was an item, number 12 on the agenda, is a reappointment to the Delaware County Authority. At yesterday's agenda meeting, there was a request that a representative or some officer from the Delaware County Authority might be able to come over and provide any information or answer any questions. Mr. Matt Lawsky, the solicitor for the authority, is present. Although I was informed when the meeting started, you kind of rearranged your schedule to be here today, but have another commitment at 11. So we'll do the courtesy of taking this matter out of order. So I'll recognize Ms. Marone for a motion or request for agenda item number 12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move for the approval to reappoint Thomas P. Wagner, Esquire, of Upper Darby Township to the Delaware County Authority for a 5-year term ending January 2023.
Second motion.
If there's a motion and a second, is there discussion on the motion? Any questions for Mr. Mountbosky?
Yes, Mr. Morales.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming in today. So, if you could, for our benefit and for those in the audience, speak a little bit about what the authority does.
Sure, it'd be my pleasure. Delaware County Authority is a municipal authority. It was originally organized in 1974 as a hospital authority to do financing for hospitals. It was originally actually called the Delaware County Hospital Authority. Subsequently, its charter was amended to change its name to Delaware County Authority and expand it to not only hospitals and healthcare facilities, but it also could do financings for higher education, colleges and universities. It is a municipal authority. The members are appointed by this board. It is a conduit authority, much like when we talked not that long ago about the Delaware County Industrial Development Authority. The funds that go for these projects are not governmental funds. They're not funds of the authority itself. The authority is a conduit issuer. The monies either come from a bank or, in most of these cases, because they're typically larger financings, there are bond issues that are sold to the public. They pass through the authority, giving a tax exemption to them, and then the borrower pays lower rates. Over the past several years, just to give you an idea of the projects that they've done, on the healthcare side, they've done projects for, or finance, I should say, projects for Elwyn, Riddle Village, Dunwoody, Whitehorse Village, also the Crozier Keystone Health System, when it was nonprofit, and Mercy Health System. As far as colleges and universities, Eastern, Cabrini College, Haverford College, Newman University, Villanova University. The process is if there's an application for financing, you have to actually hold a temporary hearing before the authority, which members of the public are allowed to attend, and the authority would approve the financing, and then it has to come before your board, and we ask for your approval of particular financings. And a finding that in the case of Delaware County Authority, it's finding that County Council finds that the financing is generally beneficial to the general health, safety, welfare of the community. There's a 5-member board. They're each appointed for 5-year terms. They are not paid. The board members are volunteers. I don't know if there's anything else I could offer.
With regard to the board members,
Yes, sir.
Is it a rolling basis of reappointments? When
Yeah, I believe there's one every year. I think that it's 5-year terms, 5-year members, so each one comes up every year.
Okay. And with regard to Mr. Wagner, who's up for reappointment today, how long has he served on this board?
I do not know the answer to that, but he's been on longer than one term. I know that. He's been on longer than 5 years.
Longer than 5 years. Okay. What is, and I've never met Mr. Wagner. None of my questioning is really with regard to his qualifications for the board. My questions is really more with regard to the process of appointment and how we go about that practice. I mean, what do we do in terms of ensuring that those who get appointed are the best and most qualified for this? And I'm not sure if you really want to speak to this or if this is a...
I certainly don't think that's my role as the solicitor for the authority.
Yeah.
I mean, the appointments are made by county council. The members of the authority, the current members of the authority are fantastic and dedicated folks, I can tell you that, and very good at what they do. But that's a process that comes from your board.
That's fair enough. So I can redirect my questioning to my colleagues here. When a reappointment comes up, what do we do in terms of making sure that the public is aware either there's a reappointment taking place or there's an opportunity to appoint someone else? So what do we do to proactively ensure that we are appointing folks to these boards that, and this could really apply to 12, it could apply to 11, to 13 on our agenda. What is that process if someone who's been on council longer than I have can speak to that?
Well, I can just, we spoke about this yesterday at the agenda meeting. I mean, I think that the process is that when people come up for reappointment, they express a willingness or not to be reappointed, and the council would consider that. I guess for a council member, that's one of your essential duties as a council member is you bring your own set of standards and criteria to making the decision about who would be best to serve on different boards and commissions. I'm sure everybody perhaps has their own individual set of criteria. I typically try to look at, who will be fair in a position, who's got experience in the community and involvement, who would make the best decisions on behalf of the residents of the County of Delaware. And if we're the appointing authority, who do I trust, or who do I think would be an appropriate person to go and make decisions on that particular board or commission. So I think those are subjective criteria that every council member, should consider. I think council members should do everything that they think is necessary in order to investigate any person that desires to be appointed to any board or commission. As we indicated yesterday, there is no one way that somebody applies. If somebody is interested in a board or commission, they can contact the county, contact a member of council, submit a letter of interest to Ms. Coogan, our chief clerk, and we can evaluate those things from there. I think if you ask my personal thought process is I look at, have people, if they're on boards or commissions, and have dedicated time, and have they done a good job or not? Are they still representative of the community? That's what I look at to see when I consider whether or not to appoint or, in this particular case, reappoint somebody to a board or commission.
Do we know when the last time a new member joined this Delaware County Authority Board?
Within the past 2 years or so. Mr. Donahue was appointed, I believe, in 2017, because I just looked, his term expires in 2022, so the 5-year term. So.
And so he was new to the board?
He was new to the board, yes.
Mr. McLean, you outlined a process by which members might request reappointment to the boards. How did that happen in this instance? Did Mr. Wagner send a letter into council seeking reappointment?
I didn't receive a letter from Mr. Wagner. I think that there was the Delaware County Authority sent a letter to.
In this case, the authority sent over indication that Mr. Wagner would like to be reappointed.
How does that indication? Is there a letter that you send over?
It did not come from me. I believe it just came from the staff. The authority has one person staff.
So Mr. Wagner told the authority to tell us that he would like to be reappointed?
Right. What we do is his term was coming up. So, the indication is please reappoint. If it was open, the authority would advise council that the person did not wish to be reappointed. And then if there was anybody interested that we knew of, we would certainly give that name to council.
Have we received any other letters over the years of folks who wanted to be appointed to this committee, this authority, that didn't get appointed?
I don't know the answer to that, sorry. I really don't. I don't know the answer. I'm not aware of it, but that doesn't mean there aren't any.
Are there any further questions for Mr. Matlowski?
Well, not necessarily for Mr. Matlowski, but I think, again, for the process here. Not sure how else to ask this other than, are political considerations taken into account when we look at who gets appointed?
You mean, did the chairman of a political party send a letter asking for Mr. Wagner to be appointed? No.
Formally or informally?
I'm not aware of any political leader making any sort of a request.
Was the donation history of Mr. Wagner to the Republican Party or any of its committees considered during the process?
No, Mr. Zidek, I don't look to see whether or not somebody has donated to a particular candidate or cause. I realize that is a criteria that seems very important to you, and that you seem to make your decisions based upon whom somebody will donate to, but that is not something that I have ever heard discussed or evaluated or thought about at making a decision about whether or not to appoint somebody to a board or commission. I suppose that you are free to, use that as your criteria in order to make a decision about somebody. I think you're free to do that, but I can only speak for myself in that I have never evaluated whether or not somebody has donated to a political candidate or cause or supported a political candidate or cause when making a consideration for appointment to a board or commission.
Okay, for the record, there's been no evidence that I've offered during my tenure here to suggest that I make decisions based upon whether somebody's given to a party.
Well, you have.
So I take umbrage at your suggestion that I have done so. Maybe you could point out when I have done so. Perhaps.
Certainly, you have on several occasions asked whether or not somebody has made donations to a political candidate or cause before considering whether or not to vote on a contract or an appointment.
I may have asked questions, but I've not cast a vote based upon that, and that's what you said that I had done.
I did not. I said you obviously use that as a criteria for what you, in your subjective evaluation process.
Well, it's my opinion that many people in Delaware County are concerned about a pay-to-play culture here in Delaware County, and I think it's high time that political donations and service on boards and contracts being given are brought to light, and that's one of the reasons I bring these questions to light.
And you were able to do that.
I'd just like to add, I think, again, this is in no way a judgment on whether or not Mr. Wagner is qualified or has done a great job or not on the authority. I think to state the obvious, we are starting this year in a new era with County Council having bipartisanship. And I think with that, there may be a dynamic where others within the community now view the ability to serve on an authority such as this one as a possibility. So what I would like to do is to take this as an opportunity in the same spirit that we see on County Council of honoring the value in experience, but also the value in fresh perspective. To apply that as well to authorities of this sort, and to not necessarily just rely on letters that may or may not come in, but to be a bit more proactive in making sure that the community is aware that authorities of this sort exist, what they do, and that it's open for those who are qualified, and we can lay out what the qualifications are. So that again, we're just a bit more proactive about ensuring that those who serve on these boards and commissions and authorities, that we're really getting the most qualified, not necessarily someone who is or isn't, but the most. And you mentioned representative of the community. I think that's important as well. Someone, I should say, an authority or a board that is representative of the entire community, to make that something that we're more proactive about doing geographically, and I will say from a party perspective. So with that in mind, unless there's other comments that would be made here, I would suggest to table this agenda item until such time as we have the ability to make more folks aware in a more proactive public manner that there is an expiration of the term here, and see who comes forth as a candidate that we should consider. And maybe at the end of the day, Mr. Wagner is the right person to appoint. I'm not biased one way or the other on that, but I just want to make sure that we really have options. So there's a motion in there to table, item number 13.
The motion to table takes precedence over the pending motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I second the motion.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? The only thing I would add is I think I will not vote in favor of the motion to table. I think we're here. We need to be able to govern. We cannot stall the process and hold the process back for some indeterminate amount of time. I think that if we want to talk about using different procedures, or we want to again do something different, take a different tactic on how to advertise or seek applicants, we certainly may do that. But to sort of just stop the whole wheels of government while people sort of get up to speed and learn, I'm not in favor of that.
That's a fair concern, Mr. Chairman. So I think just so I understand better, what do we, and this may be a question for Mr. Madron, it may be a question for you, sir. What happens when we pass the official expiration of the term? Would there be a vacancy? Is that what would occur? Would the existing appointment extend until such time as someone else has been appointed? Or
Members continue to serve until they are reappointed or replaced.
Okay, so a tabling of the motion for X number of weeks, whether it's 1 week, 2 weeks, or whatever, would that cause the wheels of motion of governance to go to a halt, or would the authority continue to be able to proceed without any massive problem?
Well, the one thing that it does do is if there's bond issue, we do have an application coming on behalf of the Eastern College. There's what's called preliminary official statement issued, and there's also an official statement issued when it shows one of the board members is having a past due or expired term. It's not necessarily a legal impediment, but I don't think it looks particularly good with respect to bonds as they're offered for the public.
Okay, and for things to pass the authority, does it need to be unanimous? Does it just need to be?
Need to have a quorum. It's typical Robert's rules.
So if someone had to, they could recuse themselves or some other sort of connection? Okay. So again, we're not talking about the authority ceasing to be able to operate. If there were for a limited period of time, an extension of time such that we can solicit other resumes for consideration here. Because again, my concern is, I got Mr. Wagner's resume, I believe either yesterday or today. I would love the opportunity to speak with him. I'd love the opportunity to find out if others come forth who may, again, reflect a more overall representative authority when taken in the context of the other four. And for that to happen, I don't think it's unfair to say, for X number of weeks, and just for consideration, I'd say 2 weeks' time. But I'm open to other suggestions on that.
Mr. Chairman, I would concur with your thoughts around the need to maybe take a look at, how individuals can apply for positions that are available. But I would suggest that I'm not opposed to moving forward with this appointment today. But that they're two separate issues.
Just to be clear, I think we heard is that there is real no, downside in tabling this for 2 weeks. So again, I'd suggest that we, for a set amount of time, to your concern, Mr. Chairman, we table this for 2 weeks, during which time there won't be any substantive issue with regard to the ability for the Delaware County Authority to do its business. And in that 2 weeks' time, we can solicit other alternatives who may, again, be more effective in totality with the rest of the authority.
Is there any further discussion on the motion to table? I'll just reiterate, I think there's a number of appointments that are on our agenda here today, both new appointments and reappointments. Part of my role as chair is to set the agenda. I have held off on appointments and reappointments thus far this year. This is the first time we're doing them, because we wanted to allow the new council members to kind of get up to speed on things. So it's just my personal opinion. I think we have, waited in order to start moving forward. I would encourage council members, if they want to know what boards and commissions, are available or for appointment, or what those boards and commissions do. We want to try to share as much information as possible. That's why we have Mr. Matlowski here to explain to new members what the Delaware County Authority is. And later on the agenda, Ms. Hill will talk about the Planning Commission. And Mr. Hartley may be here for the Housing Authority. But I think we should move forward. So,
to address that, I have sat down with Mr. Killian, who oversees the Delaware County Authority. I've sat down with Ms. Hill with regard to the Planning Commission. I'm aware of these authorities and the nature of their business. I asked for the explanation here more for purposes of the rest of those in the audience. But what I was not aware of was the fact that Mr. Wagner would be up for consideration prior to to Friday of this past week, and same for these other appointments. And so my concern isn't that I didn't have enough time to become informed about what these various authorities and commissions do, but rather that we again run a process that allows for folks throughout the community to come forward and say they're interested in serving on these boards and commissions.
So therefore, all those in favor of the motion to table say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Nay. So the motion to table fails 3-2. So we have the main motion for consideration. All those in favor of approval to reappoint Thomas P. Wagner of Upper Darby Township to the Delaware County Authority for a 5-year term ending January 2023, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
So that motion carries 3-2. Thank you, Mr. McCloskey. I think we turn to our regular agenda. Recognize Ms. Marone for item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move for the approval to purchase two 2018 Dodge Caravans for children and youth services from David Dodge Chrysler Jeep in Glen Mills on CoStar's contract number 026-095 for a price not to exceed $45,158, subject to solicitor's approval.
Second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. Mr. Hudak, the director of our motor vehicle fleet, is present. He did give us an explanation yesterday in regards to the procurement process and need for these two vehicles. Is there any discussion on the motion or further questions for Mr. Hudak? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Hudak. Item number 6.
Move for the approval to purchase and install outside cameras and door strikes and releases at all 22 magisterial district court locations, as well as alarm panic buttons at the magisterial district administrative office from Rendon Alarm Company at a cost of $107,045 with reimbursement from the administrative office of the Pennsylvania courts, subject to solicitor's approval.
Second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. Mr. McDonald, the district court administrator, is once again present with us today. We did discuss this yesterday at the agenda meeting. So is there discussion on the motion or further questions for Mr. McDonald?
Mr. McDonald, I think you were going to perhaps look into the cost that might, any cost increase that might occur for monitoring of the new cameras.
Yes, sir. We verified, per your request yesterday, with the cameras, there is no additional cost to, it's basically a maintenance contract, and there's no additional cost for the installation. But I do want to be clear on one thing, because I don't want it to be confusing. For the installation of the alarm at the administrative office, there will be $140 additional per year for monitoring that additional location. That's with the alarm and the buzzer. Thank you.
Is there any further questions for Mr. McDonald or discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? You guys have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7.
Move for the approval of the 2018 liquid fuels tax fund allocations to municipalities in the amounts as shown on the attached list, pending receipt of application and PennDOT approval of project eligibility, subject to solicitor's approval.
Second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. Jack Geerling, the director of our public works, is present. We discussed this matter yesterday at the agenda meeting, but why don't you give just a little bit of an explanation, Mr. Geerling, for those present today about what this program is.
Sure. What we're requesting is the allocation liquid fuels tax. These are allocations that are given out to the municipalities. And there is a formula that I mentioned yesterday where the roads in the municipalities and in the boroughs have to meet a certain standard. Okay, roads to be placed on the system, the road must be a minimum of 33-foot right-of-way in the township and 16-foot in the borough. The cartway driveway surface must be a width of 16 foot. and a minimum of 250 feet in length. These are the criteria that they have to meet. Also, if it's a cul-de-sac or a turnaround at the end of the road, it must be a minimum of 40 feet radius. To receive the liquid fuels fund, a road must be maintained in such a condition that it can be driven safely at 15 miles an hour. Mr. Chairman, I think one of the questions come up yesterday was about the Chester bridges. We do maintain 4 bridges in Chester. There are the 4th Street, 5th Street, 7th Street, 9th Street Bridge. The question came up about the Steel Bridge. And the Steel Bridge is the 7th Street Bridge in Chester, which is on the schedule to actually be renovated, actually redone. So that is on the schedule to be redone. It is a possibility, I don't know firsthand, it is a possibility with the age of the bridge that it might contain lead paint. And I think the funds that was asked yesterday, what happens to the refunds that aren't used, that aren't taken by municipalities, they actually go back into the bridge repair fund. So that comes back to us, and that's money that we use up for a number of repairs on the bridges that we maintain. There's roughly 46 bridges we maintain in the county of Delaware. Thank you.
Mr. Beerling, just for this program itself, am I correct, we talked about it yesterday, that the county of Delaware receives from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania approximately just something short of $1 million per year in liquid fuels taxes.
That's correct.
And those are taxes that are generated from payment of when we pump our gas and whatnot, we pay a tax. That goes to the state, and a portion of that money comes to us. And there's an amount that goes to every municipality in the county. And the county doesn't own any roadways. We own 40-some bridges. And what the county has done is maintain this program over a number of years where we take about 75% of what we receive from the state, and we grant that amount to all of the municipalities in the county based upon certain objective criteria, such as population and the length of their roadways.
That's correct. That's the formula that's used.
So this motion this morning would be asking the county to encumber or designate, a portion or a majority of its liquid fuels funds to basically give it to our municipalities to assist them in their local road projects or purchase of salt or whatever eligible things that PennDOT says they can spend it on.
That's exactly right. And that's done in publication 9. What they can actually use the money for.
Just a little bit of bragging, but is there any other county in the Commonwealth that runs this type of program?
That's my knowledge.
So the other comment I wanted to make on it was, we talked about it yesterday, and as I said, we have been able to manage our bridge projects over the years with some efficiency, so in terms of the use of our liquid fuel funds. And several years ago, the county did a program after a particularly difficult winter where we allocated an additional amount of money over and above these liquid fuels allocations to our municipalities to help with pothole repairs. And I think everybody's observation is we're sort of in the same type of winter where it's been very difficult for potholes out there because of the low and high temperatures that we've had and some of the snow and salt, in addition to some undone aqua work on many roadways. What we've suggested to Mr. Beerling is he investigate the possibility of identifying additional liquid fuel funds that we could allocate to municipalities for a special program to assist them with the repair of potholes on local municipal roads. So I know you're going to look into that and report back over the next few weeks.
Yes, sir.